Hello and welcome back to our weekly market recap. I'm with Rich.
Hello, everyone.
And I'm Knight. Let's get to it. So this past week we saw the market up 1.43%, which brings us year to date up 15.29%, up from the highs that we saw in February, 10.92%, and up from the lows that we saw in March, 67.88%. So this past week was obviously the end of 2020. Thank goodness we can put that in the rearview mirror. But the most 2020 thing happened. The last day of trading, the market closes. What do we see? Bitcoin hit an all-time high. Tesla hit an all-time high. S&P 500 hit an all-time high. And new coronavirus infections hit an all-time high. New deaths related to coronavirus also hit an all-time high. So we have this massive split. And if that isn't 2020, then I don't know what is.
Absolutely. Great summation of everything we've been witnessing for the past 11 months.
But on the market news, another big thing was the stimulus bill did get passed and signed into law. So that was obviously something that did help propel the market throughout the week. And we did come out last week with some of the specifics and we sent out some news about it. But if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us.
Absolutely.
And then, Rich, is there anything about that you want to say besides that, or is that good enough?
It's probably good enough, but I always have something to say. I think that the checks have already started coming out from that stimulus package. Here for the government for moving swiftly for once. And we've also started rolling out vaccinations, which are going slower than what was expected. But that is really what we have expected all along, and we're looking on a go-forward basis, things to continue like this for the next 6 months at least.
Thank you. As we look into the next week, obviously the biggest thing on everyone's mind is the Georgia runoff election and what's going to happen. Are the Republicans going to retain the Senate, or are the Democrats going to sweep both those seats and get control of the Senate? And we just wanted to take a minute and talk about, well, what happens if either party is to take control, what we think might happen. So let's start with the favorite right now, which is that the Republicans, it's more likely that they should and will retain control. So Rich, what do you see in that scenario?
Well, this is sort of the scenario that Wall Street has been expecting. So assuming that the Republicans continue to maintain control over the Senate, we're expecting things to happen just as we're seeing. Now, for the Republicans, whether they win both seats or one seat, they continue with control. For the Democrats, they need to get both seats in order to have control. If they get control, there is the thought, and we'll probably see some volatility in the market until it's understood how much control over both parties that really gives them, because several of the Democrats are relatively moderate, and especially the ones out of Georgia. And what we're probably going to see is that it will still be difficult to push a lot of high tax, very liberal policies through, but that may be more likely, which is not something Wall Street wants to see. They like the idea of a split government because that usually favors Wall Street.
Yeah, so if the Republicans retain control, our expectation is what Rich said originally, that we're going to have more moderate stimulus, so it might be toned down. We likely might still get another stimulus bill, but there's going to be a lot more discussion, debate, and neither extreme views are really going to make its way into that final bill for both sides to sign off on. If the Democrats sweep both seats, what is likely to happen then? A lot of people have been really fearful of what's going to happen with the tax situation. It is our belief that even if the Democrats do take both seats, it's still not likely that we will see major tax reform in the middle of this pandemic. Now, the question would be, well, if we do get the pandemic under control in the first half of 2021, the market's doing well, the economy's doing well, we might see those sort of bills start to pop up in the second half of 2021, which might affect 2022. And the market, we could see a major pullback if that were to happen. But in the short term, what do we expect if Democrats sweep both? Well, we might see a minor pullback in the market due to that fear, mostly around taxes and corporate taxes. But if, as the market is currently projecting, that the Republicans are going to retain power over the Senate, ultimately it means that the policy that will get through likely to be more moderate, and but also likely to be a more toned down and not as much stimulus as we might potentially see if it was a Democratic sweep.
Though we do expect to see an additional stimulus package of some sort, we just don't know what that will be. That's one of the things that President-elect Biden has been talking about, and the Democratic House has been talking a great deal about. So we expect something, we don't quite know what, but something will happen.
Yeah. Well, anyways, thank you so much for making it through 2020. Obviously, it was a crazy year, and we so appreciate being able to connect with you all and give you our market update and our views. We look forward to connecting with you next year, and we hope that everyone had a happy new year. Everyone's healthy, safe, and we'll see you again next week. Thank you.